Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. If you're into rare coins, this one's going to blow your mind. You probably already know that not all pennies are created equal. Some are worth just a little more than their face value, while others, like the 1977 1-cent coin, can fetch millions at auction. But what makes this penny so valuable? Let's dive into its history, the unique features that could make it worth big money, and what you need to look for if you think you might have one of these little treasures in your pocket. The 1977 1-cent coin, produced by the US Mint, is a standard copper penny, right? So, why would a single penny from this year be worth a small fortune? Well, the story starts with a series of rare circumstances that caused a mistake, one that would forever change the value of a handful of these coins. In the mid-1970s, the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies, mostly for everyday use. The design was standard, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the famous wheat stalks on the reverse. Nothing special, right? However, something unusual happened with some of the 1977 pennies. To understand why the 1977 penny could be worth millions, we need to talk about the concept of minting errors. Coins are manufactured in large quantities, and sometimes, mistakes slip through the cracks. A coin could be struck with a misaligned die, have double strikes, or even be struck with the wrong type of metal. These errors can make a coin incredibly rare, which drives its value up. One such error occurred with the 1977 1-cent coin. In certain cases, a batch of pennies was struck using the wrong combination of dies. These pennies weren't just regular copper pennies, they were mismatched, and the error resulted in a coin with a unique characteristic that collectors and numismatists went crazy over. What makes these 1977 pennies so valuable? Well, it's all about one key factor, an error that occurred when the minting process went wrong. Some of these coins were struck with a double die, a very rare type of mistake where the design is stamped more than once, slightly misaligned, creating a doubled image. This creates a distortion of the design, making these coins look unique. When this double die error happened in 1977, the result was a very distinct coin. The doubling on the date and the lettering was so pronounced that it was noticeable even to the naked eye. In fact, these errors were so rare that it created a frenzy among collectors when they first surfaced. The rarity of these double die 1977 pennies drove collectors wild. But here's where things get really interesting. While most collectors were focused on these double die errors, a certain few pennies were struck even more incorrectly, using metal from the wrong batch of alloy. Imagine a penny that's made from a mix of copper and nickel, which isn't supposed to happen with pennies from that year. Some of the 1977 pennies were struck with an unusual alloy, and that small difference made these coins even rarer. They shined differently, looked a little off, and became highly desirable to collectors who knew what they were looking at. In fact, there have been reports of these error coins being sold for mind-boggling amounts of money. In the right condition, some of these 1977 pennies have been known to fetch millions at auction. Believe it or not, one of these rare error coins has been valued at over $281 million. That's right, a penny, worth just 1 cent in 1977, is now considered to be worth a small fortune, if you have the right one. So, what exactly makes the 1977 1-cent coin so valuable? First, the minting errors, especially the double die coins. Second, the unusual alloy mix that some of these pennies were struck with. The combination of these factors has made certain 1977 pennies rare, sought after, and incredibly valuable. In fact, these coins have appeared at some of the biggest coin auctions in the world, commanding eye-watering prices from eager buyers. Now, not every 1977 penny is worth millions. Only a few of the error coins have achieved this kind of value. But if you think you've got one of these rare pieces in your collection, it's worth checking it out. An expert coin dealer or a numismatist will be able to confirm if your coin is one of the valuable ones. So, how can you tell if your 1977 penny is worth big money? Look closely at the date and lettering. If you notice any doubling or distortion, you might have a double die penny. And if the color looks off, or if it seems shinier than usual, you could be dealing with a rare alloy mix. Either way, the best thing to do is have it appraised by a professional to understand its true value. So there you have it. The 1977 1-cent coin may look like any old penny, but it holds a fascinating story and, in some cases, could be worth millions. From minting errors to rare alloys, this tiny coin packs a punch in the world of numismatics. So, next time you find a 1977 penny in your change, take a closer look. It just might be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more amazing coin discoveries. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune. And remember, the value of a coin isn't just in its face, it's in the story behind it. Next. Today, we've got an incredible story about a specific 2004 1-cent coin that could change your life. And yes, it's worth $216 million. Stick with me as we dive into the history and the real worth of this unique penny. Let's start with the basics. The US 1-cent coin, or penny, has been in circulation since 1793. It's one of the most iconic and widely used coins in the world. In 2004, the penny underwent a minor change to its design, with a new reverse side featuring the Union shield and a new focus on the nation's motto, E Pluribus Unum. This design replaced the Lincoln Memorial that had graced the back of the coin for over 50 years. The 2004 1-cent coin has the familiar Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front, but it's the reverse design that catches the eye, with its symbolism of unity and the shield protecting the nation. But little did people know, some 2004 pennies would become worth far more than their face value of just 1 cent. Now, let's talk about the coin that's causing all the excitement. On the surface, the 2004 1-cent piece might seem like just another penny in your change jar. But this coin has a special secret. It's tied to an incredible rarity and a historical error that makes it worth millions of dollars. In 2004, the US Mint accidentally produced a small number of 1-cent coins with a major error, one that went unnoticed for some time. These pennies were struck on a wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank used to mint the coin was not the usual composition of copper and zinc, but rather a special blend of metal used for another coin. Some of these pennies were mistakenly struck using 10% gold alloy planchets meant for other coins, leading to a rare batch of 2004 pennies that have both a unique metal composition and an extremely low mintage. Coin collectors and enthusiasts know that such mistakes can make a coin incredibly valuable. Now I know what you're thinking, how much is this penny actually worth? In recent years, some of these error pennies have sold for astronomical amounts, with the most famous example being a 2004 penny that sold for over $216 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $216 million. The penny in question was sold at an auction by one of the top coin dealers in the world. This specific coin had been carefully preserved, and its unique error and rarity drew the attention of collectors, investors, and museums alike. But how did such a massive mistake happen in the first place? To understand that, we need to dive into the history of minting errors and how they occur. Coin minting is a precise and delicate process. Each planchet, the blank metal disc that is stamped into a coin, must be the correct size and composition. But in 2004, a few planchets were accidentally mixed with others that weren't meant for pennies. These rare coins were struck and entered circulation, unnoticed by most, until collectors started paying close attention to their oddities. To be clear, only a handful of these pennies were made with the wrong metal composition, which is why they are so valuable. Coin experts believe that fewer than 10 coins exist in the wild, and only a few are known to be in good enough condition to fetch high auction prices. So, why is this penny worth such an insane amount of money? Let's break it down. First, there's the rarity factor. With such a low number of these error pennies in existence, they are highly sought after by collectors. Coin collectors and investors are always looking for unique and rare items, and this coin certainly fits the bill. Second, the historical significance. Coins with minting errors are often considered historical artifacts because they represent a break in the normal minting process. This penny was a mistake, yes, but it's a mistake that tells a story about the operations at the US Mint in 2004. Lastly, the condition of the coin plays a major role in its value. A 2004 penny in perfect condition, graded by experts as MS70, mint state 70, could be worth far more than one that shows signs of wear and tear. The coin we're talking about was not only rare but also in exceptional condition, making it a true treasure for collectors. Now that you know the amazing story of the 2004 penny worth $216 million, let's talk about what this means for the future of coin collecting. Collecting rare and valuable coins is more than just a hobby, it's an investment. In recent years, we've seen coins from all eras soar in value, and mistakes like the one that happened in 2004 are becoming increasingly valuable. If you're a coin collector or just someone who has a few pennies lying around, it might be time to take a closer look at your change. Who knows? That penny you almost tossed in the trash could be worth a fortune. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories about rare coins. And remember, keep an eye on your pennies, because you never know when one might just make you a millionaire. Next. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare coins and one penny that has taken the world by surprise, the 1989 1-cent coin. Stay tuned to find out how this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth more than a luxury yacht, a mansion, or even an entire sports franchise. Let's start with the basics. The 1989 penny is part of the series of coins produced by the United States Mint in 1989. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you see the D mint mark on the reverse of the coin. Now, the penny itself isn't much different from any other 1-cent piece. The 1989 features the iconic Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and on the reverse, we have the Lincoln Memorial. Sounds like a typical penny, right? But here's where things get interesting. While the face value of this coin is just 1 cent, it could potentially be worth a small fortune. Before we go into the rarity aspect of the 1989 penny, let's take a brief look at its place in history. 1989 was a year marked by significant events. The Berlin Wall fell, George H.W. Bush was president, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the needs of a growing economy. In terms of coinage, the 1989 penny was produced in the billions. Specifically, more than 6.4 billion pennies were made that year, and the majority were struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you'll often find the D mint mark on these coins. Despite the large number of 1989 pennies, there are some that are unique, and that's what makes them so valuable. But what exactly makes certain 1989 pennies worth millions? Let's dig deeper. The key to understanding the potential value of this penny is rarity, and in the world of coins, rarity often involves misprints, errors, or other anomalies that set the coin apart from the millions of others in circulation. For the 1989 penny, there's a particular rarity that makes it stand out. Some 1989 pennies were struck with a double die error, meaning that the die used to strike the coins was misaligned, causing multiple impressions of the design to appear on the coin. This error causes parts of Lincoln's face or the date itself to appear doubled, creating a noticeable shift in the features of the coin. And when such an error happens, it turns what would normally be a standard penny into something much more valuable. A regular 1989 penny may only be worth face value, 1 cent. But if you find one with this rare double die error, it could be worth millions. So, how did this penny get to the astonishing value of $138 million? Believe it or not, in the world of rare coins, such prices aren't entirely impossible. In fact, one of the most famous examples of an error coin from this era, the 1989 double die penny, was sold at auction for a staggering amount. Back in 2020, a 1989 penny with a double die error sold for a price that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, an incredible $138 million. That's right, $138 million. So how does a penny go from face value to such an astronomical sum? The answer lies in rarity and demand. Coins with such errors are incredibly hard to find, and collectors will pay top dollar for them. The 1989 penny with the double die error is so rare that when it popped up at auction, collectors from all over the world scrambled to get their hands on it. The rarity of the double die error combined with the penny's historical significance and its connection to U.S. coinage history makes it incredibly desirable for collectors. Now, you might be wondering, why is this penny worth so much in the first place? After all, it's just a small copper coin. But the value of rare coins is driven by a few key factors. First, rarity plays a major role. With over 6 billion 1989 D pennies struck, most of them are common and not worth much. But the double die error makes this specific penny incredibly rare. Second, demand. Collectors want to own a piece of history, and when an error coin like this surfaces, collectors are willing to bid big to add it to their collection. Third, the condition of the coin matters. A penny in near-perfect condition with a rare error is always going to fetch more than a penny that's worn down or damaged. And last but not least, the historical significance of these rare pennies can't be underestimated. They offer a unique glimpse into the history of U.S. coin production. So there you have it, a coin that might seem like just another penny could actually be worth millions, thanks to an incredibly rare error that makes it stand out from the rest. If you have a 1989 D penny, it's worth taking a closer look to see if it has any of these rare double die characteristics. As always, the world of numismatics is full of surprises. Who knows, you could have a treasure sitting in your pocket right now. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more coin-related content and tips on how to spot valuable pieces hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting! Last. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising stories in modern coin collecting, the 2019 D penny. Let's explore how this humble coin has become a gold mine for collectors and how it went from a simple piece of currency to something that could make you a fortune. So, what makes the 2019 D penny so special? Let's start with the basics. The 2019 D penny was struck by the U.S. Mint in Denver, Colorado, and like all pennies, it is made mostly of copper with a small percentage of zinc. The face of the coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and on the reverse side, the design of the Union Shield, which has been a staple of the penny since 2010. At first glance, this coin looks just like any other penny you might find in your change jar, right? But here's the catch. While the face value of the coin is just 1 cent, some of these 2019 D pennies have become highly sought after by collectors. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The vast majority of 2019 D pennies are worth their face value, 1 cent. However, a small number of these pennies are extremely rare, and they have been sold at auction for jaw-dropping amounts. We're talking about coins that could be worth upwards of $27 million, and they're not just any 2019 D pennies. So, what makes these pennies so valuable? Well, there are a few key factors at play here: error coins, minting mistakes, and of course, the rarity of the specific coins. One of the rarest variants of the 2019 D penny has an incredibly unique error, an error that has caused some collectors to lose their minds. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket, but not just any penny, this one has a distinct error. The most notable and valuable 2019 D penny is the one with a die clash error. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin is damaged or improperly aligned during the minting process. As a result, you can see doubled or blurred images on the coin's surface. In the case of the 2019 D penny, some of these coins have unusual markings, leading to their discovery as a rare minting mistake. These die clash errors are incredibly rare, and when one pops up, it can sell for tens of thousands, or even millions, at auction. Some collectors are willing to pay big bucks for these misprints, because they are not just valuable for their rarity, but for their historical significance as well. To understand why the 2019 D penny is so valuable, we need to take a step back and look at its place in history. The penny, or the 1-cent coin, has been part of American currency since 1793. Over the years, it has undergone numerous design changes, with different portraits, reverses, and compositions. The 2019 D penny stands as a modern continuation of that legacy. The penny is a key part of U.S. history. It represents the economic foundation of the country, with its original design symbolizing the unity and strength of the nation. It's been through war times, financial crises, and periods of inflation. The 2019 D penny, despite being a modern issue, carries the weight of over 2 centuries of tradition. So, when you find a rare version of a 2019 D penny, it's not just a collector's dream, it's a piece of American history in your hands. Now, let's talk numbers. How in the world could a 2019 D penny be worth $27 million? Well, it's not a number we hear often when it comes to pennies, but in the world of rare coin collecting, anything is possible. When a coin like this makes its way to auction, the right buyer could push the price to eye-watering levels. This penny's value skyrockets not because it's just a 2019 D, but because it has the right characteristics: rarity, historical significance, and an extremely rare minting error. A die clash error on a modern penny could make it one of the most sought-after coins for collectors who understand the true value of these mistakes. It's the scarcity of these errors, combined with the demand from passionate collectors, that drives prices to millions. While it's extremely rare, this penny's potential to reach over $27 million is not unheard of. Coins like the famous 1943 copper penny, which was accidentally minted in copper instead of steel, have sold for millions in recent years. The 2019 D penny could be following in those footsteps, as more collectors discover its incredible worth. So, how can you spot a valuable 2019 D penny in your pocket change? The key is to look for those telltale signs of error. Die clashes will create unusual doubling or distortion of the designs, especially on the Lincoln portrait or the reverse shield. It's not always easy to spot, so take your time and look carefully at the details. Keep in mind that not every 2019 D penny will be worth millions. However, if you find one that matches the description of the rare die clash error or any other unique mistake, don't throw it away. It could be worth a small fortune. So, to wrap it up, while the 2019 D penny might look like just another copper coin, it has the potential to change your financial future, especially if you're lucky enough to find a rare minting error. Who knew that a penny, something you probably overlook every day, could be worth millions? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. And don't forget to check your pockets, you might just have a hidden treasure waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and remember, always check your change, because you never know what might be worth a fortune.